Your neat little canister of table salt is a joke. That blue cardboard cylinder with the girl and the umbrella, the one you shake over your eggs and feel prepared. In a real collapse, that canister empties in about 3 weeks, and there's nothing behind it. Meanwhile, the people who actually plan for this buy salt by the 40-pound bag, and they're not standing in the food aisle to do it. They're 2 aisles over, in the pool supply section. Here's the thing nobody stocking canned beans wants to hear. Salt is the one mineral that decides whether your food stores, whether your body works, and whether you have anything worth trading. And almost every prepper treats it like an afterthought. You cannot cure meat without it. You cannot hold your electrolytes without it. And a subsistence diet of garden vegetables and foraged greens will quietly bleed you dry of sodium while you're congratulating yourself on the calories. The cheapest, most important survival mineral on Earth is sitting in the wrong aisle, and the food shelf crowd walks right past it. So let's talk about what pool salt actually is, because this is where people get stupid in both directions. Pool salt, the kind sold for saltwater chlorinators, is sodium chloride, the exact same molecule as the salt on your table. The good stuff, like Morton Professional's Choice, is spec'd at 99.8% pure or higher, with no iodine and no anti-caking agents, because those additives would foul the chlorinator. A 40-pound bag runs you somewhere between $8 and $17. That's roughly a quarter per pound. Grocery table salt runs about $1.50 a pound. 1 bag of pool salt equals about 25 of those little canisters for a fraction of the price. Now the honest part, and this is where a real survival channel splits from a reckless one. Pool salt is chemically the same, but it is not certified food grade. Not because there's poison in it, but because the plant that bags it doesn't answer to FDA food safety controls. It isn't tested for contaminants the way food salt is, and it carries no iodine, which your thyroid actually needs. And plenty of cheaper pool and softener bags do carry anti-caking additives or rust inhibitors. So here is your one rule, and you follow it every single time. You flip the bag over and you read the label. You want to see the ingredient lines say sodium chloride and nothing else. 99.8%, no additives. If it lists sodium ferrocyanide, if it says yellow prussiate of soda, if it mentions rust inhibitors or cleaning agents, you put it back down. Read the bag or don't eat what's in it. Simple as that. Why does salt matter this much? Because it's the original preservation technology, older than every gadget you own. Salt cures meat by pulling the water out of it. Fresh meat sits at a water activity around 0.99, which to bacteria is a warm, wet paradise. Pack enough salt against it, and the salt drags the moisture out of the meat and out of the bacteria themselves, shriveling the microbes until they can't grow. Drop that water activity below about 0.91, and most spoilage stops cold. That's not folklore. That's the mechanism that fed armies and navies for centuries before refrigeration existed. And curing wants exactly the salt we're talking about. Plain, non-iodized, additive-free. Because iodine turns the meat metallic and rancid over storage. For a rugged dry cure, you're using roughly 5% of the meat's weight in salt, and it's done when the meat has lost about 1/3 of its weight in water. Now, a fair warning. Thin cuts like bacon slabs and jerky strips are the safe play, because salt penetrates them fast. Thick hams and stuffed sausages are where botulism can hide in the airless center, and that's a different, more careful game entirely. Salt was so valuable for so long that it behaved like money. Rome built an entire road, the Via Salaria, just to move it. France taxed it so brutally under the gabelle that the resentment helped feed a revolution. People have literally traded a block of salt for its weight in gold. When supply chains break, salt doesn't just feed you, it buys you things. Then there's your own body, which is where people really underestimate this. You cannot manufacture sodium. Your body doesn't make it, and it loses it constantly. You need a bare minimum of around 500 milligrams a day just to fire your nerves and contract your muscles, including the muscle that is your heart. That's the resting number. Now put yourself in a collapse. You're hauling water, chopping wood, walking miles in the heat. You lose roughly 1 gram of sodium per liter of sweat, and a hard day can bleed 5 to 10 grams of it straight out of you. There's no reserve tank to draw on. And here's the part that kills people who think they're doing everything right. You sweat all day, you're smart, you drink plenty of clean water, and no salt. You just diluted your blood sodium toward a condition called hyponatremia. Below 120 millimoles per liter, water floods into your brain cells, and you get seizures, coma, death. It has killed healthy marathon runners who did nothing but drink water. The cruelest twist is that its early symptoms mimic dehydration, so the victim drinks more water and digs the grave deeper. Your salt cache isn't seasoning. It's an electrolyte cache, and it's protection against a named, documented killer. So let's do this right, because the play is simple once you're honest about it. Source your bulk salt from the pool or the canning aisle, and vet the bag every time. Read the label, sodium chloride and nothing else. For anything you'll cure or eat every day, spend the couple extra dollars on actual food-grade canning or pickling salt, and keep the pool bags as your cheap strategic reserve. Plan on roughly 8 to 10 pounds per person per year for real preservation use, so a single 40-pound bag covers 4 or 5 person years. Store it dry, in something airtight, and understand what you've bought. Pure salt kept dry never expires. It doesn't rot. It doesn't lose potency. It outlives you. It's the one prep you buy once and never rotate. And because pool salt carries no iodine, you keep a separate small source of that on the shelf for the long haul. That's the whole play. It isn't a magic hack, and anyone selling it as one is lying to you. It's cheap bulk sodium chloride, vetted at the label, stored dry, and stockpiled long before the trucks stop running. Because that's the truth nobody puts on a prepping list. Salt is the boring mineral that quietly decides who keeps eating and who slowly withers after the shelves go bare. If this made you look twice at that little canister, subscribe, hit the bell, and drop a comment telling me how much salt is actually in your house right now.